Today I am participating in the Just Our Imagination playlist. This is hosted by Kathy Jo DIYs, Rustic and Lace DIYs, and this month the co-host is Crafts Unleashed by Robin. This is a challenge playlist, and the 3 challenge items we must use are a hula skirt, a paintbrush, and a dog leash. I had a feeling because last month's items were much easier than usual that this month's items would be more difficult than usual. And yep, that's what happened. I'll have more information on that playlist later in the video, but for now, let's get to crafting. I'm going to be using this hula skirt material, which is essentially raffia, to make a couple of styles of flowers. The more strands of the hula skirt you use, the more full the flower will be, but I'm basically making a tassel, and then that will make our flower. I'm sorry for being a little out of frame here, but I just wrapped the raffia around and around this wallet here, just whatever you have on hand, and it just depends on the size that you want your flower to be. Is the size of the item that you're going to wrap your raffia around. But I'm just going to cinch it here in the middle with this pipe cleaner. You could use some more of the raffia to do this, or string, or whatever you have. And then I'm going to keep this together using some masking tape. Then using a pair of scissors, I'm just cutting the loops and trimming up the flower. I'm going to use a skewer stick from the Dollar Tree to make the stem of the flower, and I'm just going to wrap the remaining. I could cut off the pipe cleaner that I used, but I'm just going to wrap it around the stick here because that's going to get covered with floral tape. They sell floral tape. I have a roll from the Dollar Tree, and I also had a roll from Walmart. But you have to stretch the floral tape a little bit to activate the wax adhesive that's inside of the tape, and it sticks to itself. I'm just showing you here, if you don't have floral tape, you can use that same masking tape and just wrap your flower stem in that and then paint it with green paint. I used English Ivy acrylic paint. I wasn't caring too much about perfection here. A flower stem doesn't have to look perfect. It can have some twists and turns on it. And also, I knew that I was going to be using these flowers in a future craft here on this same video, and I knew I was going to be cutting this stem off anyway, and so I just wasn't taking too much time to make the stem perfect, but I just wanted to be able to show you how to make a stem on these. So that's one style of flower, and now I'm going to make a different sort of flower using this raffia here. And I just took a few rounds of cardstock. For this first one, I just used 2 strands of the raffia. And it's going to make a less full, because I'm not using very many strands, it's not going to be a very full flower. It's going to be pretty flat. But I was thinking that would work well in scrapbooking or junk journaling, where you don't want something to be too thick where you can still close the pages. And so if you're needing a really flat rose, then 2 strands would be good. And I'm just twisting this raffia as I wind it around and glue it on top of this circle. And because I didn't start exactly in the middle, and because as you're going along, it's not going to come out perfectly on this circle, I just cut away the excess at the end. Now what I'm doing is essentially using 4 strands. So I'm doubling up on how many strands of raffia I'm twisting around on this paper round here. And on this last one, I'm using 6 strands of the raffia, and this is going to make an even more full flower. And you could go, even more strands, and the more strands you use, the thicker your flower is going to be. I had another craft in mind to use these with for this video, but I ran out of time, so I was unable to do that craft. But the first flowers I made, I do use in a later craft in this video. This dog leash had me a little bit stumped, and I wish I could have come up with a little more creative of something to do with it, but this is what I came up with. I started out painting it with truffle and just going over the existing, design that it had, but it just wasn't enough of a change, and so I just decided to paint it solid gold, so that's what I did. I have this thrifted frame. It did not have a backing to it, so I just cut a piece of cardboard out to fit inside the frame, and I'm taking some of this canvas drop cloth that I have, and I'm going to use some spray adhesive to attach the fabric to this piece of cardboard. Making sure to space these out evenly, I'm taking pieces of this dog leash, and I'm just going to glue it on the end so that the middle is not attached to the fabric. It was looking a little too plain, and so I did add some of this lace trim from the Dollar Tree on the top. My frame was a decent size, but it wasn't huge, so I was only able to do 2 sort of rows on, in the frame here with the dog leash. And I'm going to be using this as a photo holder and just clipping some little photos and, little pieces of art in here. I wanted there to be enough room. You want to keep in mind what size photos you're going to be clipping on here. So I just made sure that I was able to clip at least a 4x6, on each row here. This is just a quick reminder that if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any future videos. Those are free ways to help out my channel and it is greatly appreciated. For this one, I'm using these 3 Dollar Tree wooden brushes, and a couple of pieces of scrap wood, but you could use a sign from the Dollar Tree or whatever you have. And I'm going to be connecting these two pieces of scrap wood together. I wish I had one solid piece so I didn't have to mess with this step, but I'm just working with what I have, using wood glue and hot glue, and using some of these super jumbo craft sticks. I'm going to use those as braces on the back to connect these two pieces of wood. Using a pair of needle nose pliers, I'm just using leverage. The reason why I'm spinning the pliers around the paintbrush here is just to be able to use leverage instead of yanking on the bristles. I found that worked better, and removing all the bristles from each brush. For one brush, I knew that I was going to be using some antique wax on it, and so I wanted to take that shiny finish off of it so that antique wax would stick. One of the brushes I painted with English Ivy acrylic paint, and I also painted the metal part with truffle chalk paint. The third brush I painted with Cashew chalk paint by Waverly. I have these stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use it as decorative elements on the green paintbrush. At first I was just going to use this one sticker, but later I added another one, and I just used paint and just sort of haphazardly added paint here and there, trying to make it look old and not perfect. On the paintbrush that I stained with antique wax, I'm going to use up some of these rub-on transfers. Once I got enough of them on there where I thought it looked good, I went ahead and to make it all go together, put some antique wax over the whole thing. For the paintbrush that I painted with the Cashew chalk paint, I'm just going to be using some of these stamps that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm not worried about perfection here. I'm just going to randomly press this stamp on here with some brown ink. I know that later I'm going to heavily distress it. I used some European Gold Rub and Buff to go over the details on these two paintbrushes here. I thought that the green paintbrush needed just a little bit more decoration on it, and so I did add another sticker, doing the same painting technique on it. Once I got them looking how I want, and you'll notice that I only did the front of all three of them because the back, I'm going to be gluing these to that scrap wood. And so just, I don't know what you would call this, but I just took the paintbrush and went down onto the floral foam, pressing that floral foam into each paintbrush so that I can put some florals into each one. I didn't show me putting the florals in there. I used a couple of picks from Walmart along with the first flowers that I made. It took me forever. I'm not good at floral arranging, anything to do with flowers, I'm not very good at. And so it took me a long time. It would have been a lot of film to capture me going back and forth and trying to get those flowers, just right. And they still didn't turn out perfect, but they're good enough, and I like the way it turned out. Don't forget that this video is part of the Just Our Imagination playlist challenge. I will have a link to that playlist in the description box of this video, as well as the links to all 3 of our hosts' channels. So go check that out. It's always so fun to see what all the different crafters do with the 3 challenge items, especially when the challenge items are very challenging like this month. But I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.